Hi Libra, this is Sugar Free. Thank you for joining. This is your Q4 reading for 2023. I'm going to be using two decks here. I've got the Major Arcana of the Ancient Italian Tarot. Very beautiful deck. Been working with this for a decade or so. And here I've got the Minor Arcana split into its suits. So I'm going to pull three from the Major Arcana. And then I'm going to clarify with one from each suit of the Minor Arcana to drill down into the energy a little bit. So everything's shuffled. Just give this one last go. In the Major Arcana section, I do take reversals. In the Minor Arcana, I don't. And sometimes that in itself throws up some quite interesting results. So here we go. 3 cards for Libra for Q4. October, November and December of this very fast moving year. Okay. Wow. Strong energy, Libra. Really, really strong. The only equivocal energy on the table is here in the Wheel of Fortune, but we're coming in with the Fool. This first column, what will turn into a column when I get into the Minor Arcana here, is things as you see them. This second column is the hidden energy, and the third column here is things as they really are, or like the overriding energy. So the immediate energy, the hidden energy, and the overriding energy. So whatever's happened through this cycle for you, we're coming into Q4 of 2023 for you, Libra, with a very, very, very fresh head on your shoulders. A lovely feeling, well, potentially lovely, maybe a little bit agoraphobic on the underside of it. But, the Fool, what can I say? It does feel a bit like you're facing a lot of new circumstances, a lot of new factors, some of which you couldn't possibly have dreamt of, some of which you're not even sure what they are or how they got there. And I mean, for some of us, that can be really exciting, like I say, and for some of us it's just the source of some anxiety. So we'll see as we go through what's happening there. The hidden energy, the Wheel of Fortune here, is this way or that way. Things are in flux, and that can be really, really wonderful. I'm reminded of that quote from, I think it's Lao Tzu, something about in crisis there is opportunity, ancient Chinese saying. And I'm not saying this is necessarily a crisis, but it looks like you're coming into this period, I would say perhaps a bit denuded, a bit scoured of stuff that you had previously kind of counted on is gone, or a lot of it's gone, and there's a whole heap of new stuff where the old stuff was. And all right, I'm going to just dive straight into the upshot energy here. The Magician, this is fantastic. This is taking control of the elements at your disposal. And the Magician has all the suits of the Minor Arcana here, and all the tools he needs. There's confidence here, there's capacity here, there's a can-do energy here, and let's pull on the Minor Arcana here, because it really does look to me like the opportunities are huge. And the only thing that could pull you down is not being, or that could like not be so good for you, is not seeing the plethora of opportunities for what they are, and not kind of accurately judging the energy of this, and approaching this period with an open mind and a can-do attitude. That's what I'm getting off the majors. Let's start pulling on the minors. Okay, we've got the Queen of Pentacles. So this is instantly looking better. This is looking like a bunch of kind of results, a bunch of effects of previous actions and previous decisions and previous kind of energetic investments have paid off. So that straight away gives me a better feeling about the Fool there. Whether you survey your pentacle, your Ace of Pentacles here, like the Queen of Pentacles does, with this beautiful sort of devoted look on her face, whether you see them or not, I mean, she certainly sees it, but whether you do or not remains to be seen. And the presence of this Wheel of Fortune tells me that you might be a little bit blinded by the speed of change and by the implications of all the possibilities that are thrown up, shall we say, by this process through Q4. Let's keep going. It's looking good, though. It's looking good. How interesting. I did a reading earlier and this came up in exactly the same position, completely different reading. It was private reading. 10 of Wands. Now, the 10 of Wands can be seen as a sort of an intolerable burden and you're fit to drop and all of this, but I see it sometimes in a different way, and I'm seeing it in this different way in this reading today for you, Libra. What I'm seeing here is somebody who is so used to carrying wands that they can now carry an entire 10 and not drop one of them. This is accomplishment. This is coming to the end of a series of tasks, material tasks in the world, like active karma in the world, and getting to a point of proficiency and skill, and I would say a point where you have absolutely nailed the capacity to just get your head down and keep going with something. A lot of work has been put in here, and again, it's paying off. I see this paying off. So the smile on this Fool's face is getting wider and wider as I go. Okay, now 3 of Swords. I'm not seeing this. Now, I hope you won't mind. I do interpret quite a lot of the cards differently from how most readers interpret them. I mean, sometimes this can be heartbreak, but I'm not seeing it here. What I'm seeing is those 3 swords. I'm seeing 3 interlocutors here. I'm seeing 3 streams of thought and mental activity. And I mean, of course, it's linked to the heart. You know, it's so like clear there on the card. And something has occurred in terms of stuff said between people, or perhaps stuff written. And it's caused this kind of, it's caused an upset. And this upset, I mean, maybe with this Fool here, it's more a question of sort of considering what your options might be and whether it is time to start a new phase of something, because there's clearly been some sort of emotional pain gone down here. And I am really drawn to, I mean, obviously it's the 3 of Swords, but I'm more drawn to the presence of the 3, as I say, streams, 3 different approaches. There are 3 entities here, and they're equal and they're linked emotionally. So I'm beginning to think this is something to do with family, possibly, Libra, rather than work. family or friendships. But I mean, the strength of this energy, the power of these three cards, especially ending with the Magician here in the upright in position 3. This is not a sort of, this is not something that you put down when you leave the office or when you leave work. You're not leaving it behind. You've been taking it home with you. Whatever this is, it's at home with you and occupying your emotional mind. So yeah, perhaps it is more that things have reached a certain point and you feel like you've coined in enough. You've got enough experience, say, or enough strength, enough resources. Your resources are sufficient for you to start a new journey in some way. Okay, let's get the cups. 8 of Cups. Well, there you go. The walk in the dark, the walk on your own. This just backs up what I was saying in the 3 of Swords here. The 8 of Cups, departure, walking away. It's one of my favourite, not my second favourite necessarily, but one of my favourite readers on here on YouTube. Says this is walking away from 8 broken cups towards your 9 cups. Now, whoever this is walking away, the fact that they're depicted here in the Rider wearing red suggests to me that they are in a good position materially. And I take that from other depictions of wealthy people in the Rider Waite are usually dressed in red. For example, the merchant in the 3 of Pentacles, the merchant again, the rich man in the 6 of Pentacles. So you're in a good position, but because some sort of emotional pain has been experienced through this or is happening now, it's not necessarily sort of dancing away into a bright new future. I mean, it is, because we've got the Fool here, backed up by all of this. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a sort of giving up, an eschewing of something, a putting of something to one side, perhaps for later. Who knows? I mean, we've got an eclipse going on here, so we've got funny sort of stop-start energy here. There might be a turnaround at some point, or the wish that it was right for you to turn around, or the wish that somebody would perhaps ask you to turn around and come back. Who knows? But yeah, it's a solitary decision taken to move in a solitary direction. But as we say, the next one is the 9 of Cups, and I wouldn't kick that out for eating the wrong biscuits. Right, let's pull on this Wheel of Fortune. 8 of Pentacles. It's ready. It's ready. It's absolutely right that this wheel be turning. What I'm getting off this, and I just channel what comes into my mind, is that again, one of these pentacles is the is the Ace of Pentacles. Sorry, don't miss this one item. There's one item on that wheel, or selected items on that wheel, that have been put there sort of deliberately, that have been it's been invested, the work's been put in, and there is stuff like whizzing round like a Catherine wheel, like one of those fireworks that goes round and round and round. You're probably too young to remember them. Maybe they still got them, I don't know. But it's the matter of watching the wheel going round and spotting like distinct objects on it and seeing how they cycle round and really paying attention so that you can grab the right thing at the right time. And it's worth doing that, Libra, because a lot of work has been put into this to create this situation, whether you knew it or not. right? You've been laying the groundwork for really very positive upshots and positive new possibilities for yourself. So, I wouldn't say be sort of vigilant, like, just sitting like a cat watching a mouse or something. But, do be aware that in this period of change and transformation, possibilities are thrown up that might not appear to be there, might not, perhaps counterintuitive stuff, where you realize that something, two or three separate things that you've been working on or doing or developing or learning about or studying or reading about or learning in some way, can be put together in some new way that you hadn't thought of. So, yeah, this is telling me just keep your eyes open. Don't allow anxiety and fatigue and a kind of feeling of despondency about this to blind you to the possibilities of this time. It's the kind of thing that if you miss the boat on it, you look back on it later and you see that there was a window and you didn't spot it, or there was something there that was worth kind of grabbing hold of, picking it up and running with, and you didn't do it. There we go. You see, defensiveness. This hidden energy column here in the middle, column number 2. This is the stuff that you don't necessarily see. This is the underbelly. This is the undercurrent. This is like the flip side of the coin. And it would be a shame to allow defensiveness and despondency and kind of fear of re-traumatization with something, having survived something or having got through something, got to the other end of something, and you're so knackered and traumatized by it that you can't actually make use of the opportunities that have now become available to you because you've come to the end of a difficult period. It would be a shame to allow defensiveness and anxiety and agoraphobia, that's what I'm getting off this today, to block your future progress and block kind of really, karmically certainly cashing in on this wonderful energy. Okay, we've got 2 of Swords. Right, hold on a sec. This is a very interesting card, the 2 of Swords. Oh, God, this came up as well in the previous. I have shuffled, I promise. 10 of Cups. All right, what I would say with these, there's... Okay, this is sort of subtle, like cautionary notes here in the second column. If you make your decisions about going forward based on a kind of all or nothing, like all good or all bad, brilliant outcome or shit outcome, like really black and white, sort of binary thinking. And this has come up in a couple of the other Q4, I think one other Q4 reading. So if you make it either 10 of Cups, happily ever after, or kind of just a flipping disaster, like 3 of Swords, if it's all or nothing, don't try not to get caught up in all or nothing thinking. And there is always like a kind of danger of all or nothing thinking when one is stressed, tired, and perhaps even traumatized and sort of on the defensive mentally. And we see that here in the 3 of Swords and in the 8 of Cups and the 10 of Wands, if you want to read it that way. That binary thinking of either everything will be all right or everything will be terrible. Most of life isn't like that. Some of it's great, some of it's good, some of it's okay, some of it's neutral. Huge tracts of it are neutral. And then we have gradations down into the, not so good, pretty shit, absolute flipping disaster, like down the other end. Try to, what this is telling me, this middle column is telling me, is try to remain more in the grey area, in the middle, because that's where the real opportunities, the lasting opportunities, are usually to be found. The all or nothing thinking is sort of flash in the pan. And if you take decisions based on all or nothing thinking, they usually don't end up taking you where you think they will, because there's too much sort of emotional intensity involved in it. So that's what I'm getting off that second column. This is the kind of what could kind of block your energy, or kind of scupper your progress somewhat. And I'm saying that in relation to the Ten of Cups, because it's following the Two of Swords, and this is this binary thinking. And as binary thinking, black and white thinking, all or nothing thinking, is sort of quite reassuring. It's just like you just flip a coin, in a sense. And there is a sort of blindness about it, as we see here with the blindfold. And the two swords here are equal. So, whether it's all or whether it's nothing, whether it's black or white, whether it's brilliant or shit, that extremity of thinking kind of ends up in the same place, which is sort of not really something that is built to last, because it's based on kind of flash in the pan, intense, emotion driven, usually fear driven, or anger driven, even some of it, but it's usually not a very positive thing. When you take decisions in a positive mindset, you're more likely to have some kind of planning on board and some preparation having been done. And this energy here, Libra, is worthy of that kind of more measured approach. It really is, in order to access the power kind of inherent in this card here, in this energy here. We've got the full 0, I am. And we've got the Magician, card number 1 in the major arcana, I can and I will. This is about capacity. So let's see what we get here. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. This is like the minor arcana. This is the 9 of Pentacles. This is like the minor arcana of the Empress. It's absolutely lovely. This is establishment in and of yourself, by your own work, by your own hand have you created that security. And you're in charge of it, and you're in charge of, you have an overview of it. You've got good, a good overview of the situation. It's really interesting, that word oversight. The meaning of it has changed diametrically from what it used to mean. In the old days, an oversight was something that you forgot to take into consideration. You were looking at everything and you missed it. It was an oversight. But these days, oversight means the same as sort of sort of surveying something and having like a sort of bird's eye view of things. And that's what we see here in the 9 of Pentacles with the bird of paradise here. I'm sorry about my camera. I've been having some awful technical issues. I need to get a new camera, basically. We got this this hawk here. I don't know if I said bird of paradise earlier. A lot of readers think it's a bird of paradise, but it's not. It's a hawk. This woman is a falconer. So she's got some metal to her. Yeah, she's got some guts. You've got to have guts to fly wild birds. I've been on sort of wild bird hawk flying days, and you're dealing with a potentially dangerous thing with like a sharp beak and sharp claws and that. So you've got to have your wits about, and you've got to have a certain amount of courage, and you've got to have some some sticking power. And here is the depiction of the rewards of having sticking power. And again, sticking power is rarely found at the extremities of things. It's all wobbly out there. The stable ground is in the middle. Knight of Wands. Wow. God, there's real confidence here. There's real confidence, but I'm getting off the Knight of Wands here, and I always get it off the Knight of Wands. Perhaps some things have been lost in oversight. Okay, he's very full of action, and he's very determined to get to he will get to his destination really, really quickly. But in doing so, he might miss one or two things. I mean, you can't necessarily do everything perfectly. Maybe that's what this is. You know, this is action over perfection. I don't know, let's keep going. I'm always a little bit equivocal about the Knight of Wands, never quite get his energy. King of Swords. Oh man, you're on fire with this. Four of Cups. Okay. Well, the King of Swords has chosen one of these two. And it's interesting, we've gone from 3 to 2 to here, a single sword. Okay, it's not the Ace of Swords, but it, you know, he only needs one. And when he wields that sword, that's it. Or when he decides what he's going to do, that's it. This is sort of decisiveness, incisiveness, authority and clarity in the matter of thoughts and speech. So that's giving a bit more weight. I think what this Knight of Wands is possibly saying in this column is that it is possible in this energy to move quickly and effectively towards new goals, or to not necessarily even towards new ones, in a different way with what you've already got. Moving in a different way with what you've already got. And, you know, whatever it is that's gone before this full card here, because the full is the start of a whole new cycle. You can't start a new one unless an old one has ended. And whatever has gone on there, nothing is lost from it. But I have a feeling of something that's been really kind of wobbling, coming into, or the possibility existing for something that has been wobbly, effective but wobbly, because we're coming into this with real energy. So we're not coming in denuded and anxious like a stranger in a strange land. There's a lot of prep being done to bring us to this point. And that creates here in this third column here the capacity for very, very effective forward motion, definitely based in thoughts and speech. And as I say, there is true authority here. What it's going to take is the capacity to not only walk away from certain aspects that exist in the present with the Eight of Cups, but to also up your game, Libra, in the matter of discernment, in terms of what you will and will not engage with emotionally. Because there's a choice going on here in the Four of Cups. You know, he's choosing not to take it. It's not that he can't. His flipping arms are folded. He don't want to know. And perhaps part of what's been making the previous cycle wobbly is a sort of overemphasis on the idea of this Ten of Cups here, this happily ever after over the rainbow. And the kind of the emotional kind of taste of this third column here is, as I say, a kind of unapologetic discernment about what is and isn't present in your life. And the ability here in the King of Swords, the motivation here in the Knight of Swords, and the kind of stable platform here in the Nine of Pentacles, all of those three things are present to give you the confidence to say no when it's a good idea for you to say no. And I mean, part of what makes our lives sort of interesting and part of what makes them difficult is our tendency to say yes to stuff that we know we should say no to. Very few of us are able to always say no to what we know we should say no to, because usually it's something we quite like or we sort of like have some sort of appetite for. But it is possible to develop more discernment in that and more sort of forward thinking. And perhaps that's what the King of Swords and the Knight of Wands here represent as well. Forward thinking, a greater degree of strategic thinking. And certainly when it comes to emotional stuff. And I don't mean that in a cold way. I just mean, for example, letting a connection go, maybe. Letting it go. It doesn't have to be any conflict, but just letting it go, because you know deep down it's not going to take you where you want to go. Or it's not going to take you very far. And, sacrificing and letting something go, Eight of Cups in the present, in order to create the space for something better to come in. So we've got, as I said, we've got the walking away and we've got the proactive non-engagement with stuff on the emotional plane. And that sort of strategic thinking is very, 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 that sort of planning thinking, that delayed gratification and that sort of executive planning function is very, very present here in the energy of the Magician. So there's wonderful possibilities here for you, Libra, through this Q4. If you're able to kind of allow the swinging motion of whatever perhaps there's been a bit of a sort of karmic wrecking ball gone through, to allow that swinging motion, which we see here in the Two of Swords, to sort of reduce and come more to the middle for a more a more measured assessment of where you go from here, because where you go from here can lead to some wonderful Nine of Pentacles upshots for you. It really, really can, if you're able to kind of bring your vision in a little bit from the extremities of the binary thinking, bring it a little bit more into the middle where the more stable ground is. And, emotionally that might entail, as I say, being more discerning and not sort of feeling guilty for saying no. Right, I'm going to leave that there. It feels like the right place to leave it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.